Fresh off a sweep of Ohio State, the men's hockey team travels to East Lansing for a weekend series against Michigan State. Both Friday and Saturday's games start at 6 p.m. and will be televised on Fox Sports Wisconsin Alternate. Head coach Tony Granato is here and will take questions.
Coach, you've been talking all year about how you want your guys expecting to win games. They should expect to win big games. Do you think your team would have won Saturday's game 2 months ago, or does it show how far they've come with their confidence level?
Those are things that we talked about as coaches after the game. The two spots this weekend. The Thursday night game, we were up 2-0. They kept coming at us. They made it 2-1. We weren't playing great, and we were getting on the guys a little bit about being better. And their attitude and the way they looked at us was like, hey, listen, we got this one, coach. We got it. And that is a big improvement from earlier in the year. And then you talk about the overtime game. You know, we play really good hockey for 58-plus minutes. I mean, really good hockey. And that's a great team we were playing against. Didn't give them a lot of chances. They get a couple plays. They make a couple plays, get a couple bounces around our net, and it's 2-2. And going in overtime, I was nervous. I was wondering what team's going to come out, a team that's going to come out and sit back and try to, defend and kind of get through it, or a team that's going to get back on the ice and go after it and try to win. And we played to win, and that was a big step. And like you said, we want to grow as a team each and every week. And I think the steps we've made along the way put us in a position that we were confident in both those games when they were on the line. And, like I said, Ohio State didn't quit. And they came back to force the overtime, and then we were able to regroup and get right back after it. And we went out and won the game by trying to win the game, not trying to protect it and not lose. We went out to try and win it. I think that's a big change in how our guys have really come along as the year's gone along.
Hey, Tony, when you look at this team, the program, are you ahead of where you thought you were going to be?
I think that's fair to say. I think coming into the year, we had optimism. We had some positive feelings about a lot of the players that were here and in place, but we had never coached them. We watched them on tape. We watched last year's team. So there were a lot of things that we thought had to go right for us to be in a position that we are today. And one of those things, not necessarily to go right, but one of the things we needed was leadership from within. And when you don't know your team and you don't know the kids you're going to coach, to come in and see how they have taken that responsibility upon themselves, and it goes to what just Brandon just said about when the game's on the line, them looking back at you saying, hey, coach, don't worry, we got this. That's what you want. You want the players to take over with the leadership and with the group that they have. And that's where I think we're ahead. I think they've done an outstanding job of giving themselves the best chance to win every night by the preparation they put in. Now the confidence they have, not only in themselves, I think that was the biggest thing coming into the year, was to get them feeling good about themselves individually. And now I think that has transformed into them feeling good about their teammates as well. And I think that's really important for any team that's going to win. You got to feel good about yourself, but you also got to feel good about the guys you're going on the ice with. And I think that's the kind of group we have right now.
When you look at some of the signposts, how encouraging is it to be playing and beating Minnesota's, BC, Ohio State ranked teams like that? Are those maybe the most important things that tell you where you're at?
Yes, and one of the things that was good for us, we got to watch the football team do it all year. And we learned from how they approached it. I did as a coach from watching Coach Christ and how he handled all of those, the LSU and the Michigan and Nebraska and whoever else was coming in here that was ranked. And every weekend you got to step up to a new challenge. And they did it and used it as an opportunity. And that's what we're using it as. We're using it as an opportunity to see where we're at, but to show everybody else in college hockey, hey, we got a pretty good team here, and we're ready for these challenges. And that's been, I think, fortunate for us, we got a lot more coming up because we're going to play Penn State 4 times. We're going to play Minnesota 2 more times. We're going to play Ohio State 2 more times. Those teams are all top 10 teams for a reason. And I'm glad they're on the schedule because, again, it gives us the chance to show who we are. And you know, that's what we've tried to do all year is get ready for the next challenge.
Andy.
Tony, going back to the topic of leadership, you've got a unique group of captains. Have you heard voices that maybe you didn't expect to hear join in with them in terms of leadership? Maybe some upperclassmen that at the start of the season were, you know, a little more quiet than
I think
perhaps?
I think that the one thing that I always feel is important from a leadership group is if you're a captain or assistant captain, it's not your responsibility to take charge and you're the one that's the voice of the room. You got to allow other people and players in the room that have leadership qualities and capabilities and whatever else to feel comfortable for them to be able to be heard as well. And I think that's what our group has done. You know, I could find you some guys that have stepped up. I think our freshman class, you look at Frederick and Zimmer and, you know, young guys like that have been there. You also got Linhart and Davidson. You got plenty of guys, Seamus Malone. I think they're comfortable now in being part of something when something needs to be said or more importantly, I think actions on the ice are you're starting to see a lot of guys step up in different ways. And that is when you feel comfortable as part of the group, and that goes with what Luke has done and with what Cameron done and what Grant has done on allowing those guys to feel that way as well.
The Big Ten.
Ryan, sorry.
The Big Ten sanctioned Josh Healy, the defenseman who hit Grant Besse. A couple of questions. Did you think that was warranted? Second of all, how is Grant?
First on Grant, he won't practice today. He's sore. I think he'll be in practice tomorrow. It was a hard hit. It was right in front of the bench. We saw it. Obviously, he got first point of contact was the head, so it was dangerous that way. You know, they're trying to get back in the game. They're trying to be physical. I don't think there was an intention on his part to try and hurt somebody. They played physical all game, so I'm not going to read into his mind and you know, try to figure out if it was intentional. And I think it was hockey, and unfortunately, you know, Grant got done pretty good there, and that was a pretty big point of the game. You know, getting that 5-minute power play, they did a heck of a job killing it. We weren't quite as sharp as we lost Grant on that power play unit, so that probably hurt a little bit. But that was a big point in that game for them to kill that off, even though we scored after. I thought that showed a lot about, you know, what kind of team they have as well, as they could have easily, you know, backed up and said, oh, geez, it's not our night tonight, but they killed it and made a game of it.
When you look at the schedule, Michigan State is struggling, but how important is this weekend to make sure your guys don't take a step backwards from all the good you have accomplished the last couple of series?
Very important. They played in here just a few weeks ago, and we were able to beat them a couple of times, but I thought they played really hard on the forecheck. I think they work and can frustrate you with their work ethic and how they play the game. So, you know, there's no, you know, we've known from earlier in the season that whoever you play, you got to be ready to play and play your best, or you're putting yourself in a position to get beat. So I think they played real well against Michigan on their previous Big Ten games. They tied and beat them at Michigan. So I'm sure they'll be ready to give us everything that we can handle.
Tony, does it seem at all strange that you're getting questions at this point in the season about handling success and worrying about not getting too big ahead?
No, I that's a fair question though, because you know there's been different hurdles that that we've chased along the way, and this is a different one because you're coming off of playing two top 10 teams back to back. You win 3 or 4 games against them. You're feeling pretty good about yourselves. It's an important week of preparation. But again, I'm pretty confident in the steps we've made with the group. And the answer that I gave to Brandon on how they look at you now, and they look you in the eye and they say, we got it. And that's the part from a coaching perspective. The least amount of coaching you have to do, the more comfortable you are with your team. And this weekend was one of those weekends where on the bench, we looked at each other and we said, okay, we don't need to say anything more. These guys got it. And that's, that's what we need this week as well in getting ready for Michigan State. I don't think they need to be told that, this is a team that's, you don't want to overlook. I think they know that this is important. We like where we're at. We like where we're going. And we're going to have to prepare the same way we've prepared for these other teams and be ready to battle.
Anything else for Coach?
Brian, you were quiet today. Okay.